confidence. In the 10th canto, 52nd chapter, verse 41 of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Rukmini addresses a letter to Krishna as follows. My dear unconquerable Krishna, my marriage day is fixed for tomorrow. I request that you come to the city of Vidarbha without advertising yourself. Then have your soldiers and commanders suddenly surround and defeat all the strength of the king of Magadha, and by thus adopting the methods of the demons, please kidnap and marry me. According to the Vedic system, there are 8 kinds of marriages, one of which is called Rakshasa Vivaha. Rakshasa Vivaha refers to kidnapping a girl and marrying her by force. This is considered to be a demoniac method. When Rukmini was going to be married to Shishupal, by the choice of her elder brother, she wrote the above letter to Krishna requesting him to kidnap her. This is an instance of impudence in ecstatic love for Krishna. In those days, it was not considered polite for a young girl to write to a young man proposing marriage. This is very impudent. But she was a princess and she had Kshatriya mood, so it's like very determined. One of the gopis said, "May Krishna's sweet flute be washed away by the waves of the Jamuna, and let it fall into the ocean. The sweet sound of that flute is so impudent that it makes us lose all composure before our superiors." Gopis were always trying to hide their attraction to Krishna in front of their family members because they were supposed to be married to other people. But actually they loved Krishna alone. So sometimes they would condemn the flute because they would be in some situation in the family, and suddenly the flute would come and sound, and they would just lose it. Dizziness. Every evening at sunset, Krishna used to return from the pasturing ground where he herded cows. Sometimes when Mother Yashoda could not hear the sweet vibration of his flute, she would become very anxious, and because of this she would feel dizzy. Thus, dizziness caused by anxiety and ecstatic love for Krishna is also possible. When Yashoda had tied Krishna up one time, she began to think, Krishna's body is so soft and delicate. How could I have tied him with rope? Thinking this, her brain became puzzled, and she felt dizziness. The gopis were advised by their superiors to bolt the doors at night, but they were so carefree that they did not carry out this order very rigidly. Sometimes, by thinking of Krishna, they became so confident of being out of all danger that they would lie down at night in the courtyards of their houses. This is an instance of dizziness in ecstatic love due to natural affection for Krishna. It may be questioned why devotees of Krishna should be attacked by dizziness, which is usually considered a sign of the mode of ignorance. To answer this question, Sri Jiva Goswami has said that the devotees of Lord Krishna are always transcendental to all the modes of material nature. When they feel dizziness or go to sleep, they are not considered to be sleeping under the modes of nature, but are accepted as being in a trance of devotional service. There is an authoritative statement in the Garuda Purana about mystic yogis who are under the direct shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In all 3 stages of their consciousness, namely wakefulness, dreaming, and deep sleep, the devotees are absorbed in thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, in their complete absorption in thought of Krishna, they do not sleep. That's very interesting. Yeah. When you're in full Krishna consciousness, you even have dreams about Krishna, or devotees, or your service, or something related to Krishna. And then the Vedānta-sūtra describes deep sleep as the soul resting in the arms of Brahman. So, we're always in touch with Krishna. Sleepiness. Once Lord Baladev began to talk in his sleep as follows. O lotus-eyed Kṛṣṇa, your childhood adventures are manifest simply according to your own will. Therefore, please immediately dispose of this stubborn pride of this Kaliya serpent. By saying this, Lord Baladev astonished the assembly of the Yadus and made them laugh for some time. Then, yawning so hard as to make ripples on his abdomen, Lord Baladev, the bearer of the plough, returned to his deep sleep. This is an instance of sleepiness in ecstatic love. Wow, what a pastime. Only Lord Baladev could do that. Alertness. A devotee once stated, I have already conquered the mode of ignorance, and I am now on the platform of transcendental knowledge. Therefore I shall be engaged only in searching after the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What a nice determination. This is an instance of alertness in ecstatic love. Transcendental alertness is possible when the illusory condition is completely overcome. At that stage, when in contact with any reaction of material elements, such as sound, smell, touch, or taste, the devotee realizes the transcendental presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this condition, the ecstatic symptoms, for example, standing of the hair on the body, rolling of the eyeballs, or getting up from sleep, are persistently visible. When Srimati Radharani first saw Kṛṣṇa, she suddenly became conscious of all transcendental happiness, and the functions of her different limbs were stunned. When Lalita, her constant companion, whispered into her ear the holy name of Kṛṣṇa, Radharani immediately opened her eyes wide. This is an instance of alertness caused by hearing the sound of Kṛṣṇa's name. One day, in a joking mood, Kṛṣṇa informed Radharani, My dear Radharani, I am going to give up your company. Upon saying this, he immediately disappeared, and because of this, Radharani became so afflicted that the hue of her body changed and she immediately fell down upon the ground of Vrindavan. She had practically stopped breathing, but when she smelled the flavor of the flowers on the ground, she awoke in ecstasy and got up. This is an instance of transcendental alertness caused by smelling. When Kṛṣṇa was touching the body of one gopi, the gopi addressed her companion thus, My dear friend, whose hand is this touching my body? I had become very afraid after seeing the dark forest on the bank of the Jamuna, but suddenly the touch of this hand has saved me from hysterical fits. This is an instance of alertness caused by touching. One of the gopis informed Kṛṣṇa, My dear Kṛṣṇa, when you disappeared from the arena of the rasa dance, our most dear friend Radharani immediately fell on the ground and lost consciousness. But after this, when I offered her some of your chewed betel nut remnants, she immediately returned to consciousness with jubilant symptoms in her body. This is an instance of alertness caused by tasting. One night, Srimati Radharani was talking in a dream. My dear Kṛṣṇa, she said, please do not play any more jokes on me. Please stop. And please don't touch my garments either. Otherwise I shall inform the elderly persons and I shall disclose all of your naughty behavior. While she was talking like this in the dream, she suddenly awoke and saw some of her superiors standing before her. Oops! Thus Radharani became ashamed and bowed her head. This is an instance of alertness after awakening from sleep. There is another instance of this. A messenger from Kṛṣṇa came to Srimati Radharani while she was sleeping, and Radharani immediately awakened. Similarly, when Kṛṣṇa began to blow on his flute in the night, all of the gopis, the beautiful daughters of the cowherd men, immediately got up from their sleep. There is a very beautiful comparison made in this connection. The lotus flower is sometimes surrounded by white swans, and sometimes it is surrounded by black wasps who are collecting its honey. When there is thundering in the sky, the swans go away, but the black wasps stay to enjoy the lotus flowers. The gopis' sleeping condition is compared to the white swans, and the sound of Krishna's flute is compared to the black wasp. When Krishna's flute sounded, the white swans, which represent the sleeping condition of the gopis, were immediately vanquished, and the black wasps' sound of the flute began to enjoy the lotus flower of the gopis' beauty. That's the end of chapter 30. So, then we'll have